Today, I'm going to run through what has happened to me in 2021 that has changed my life forever, to the point that it has made me view life very differently. And in many mediums, I have talked about this, but not specifically in this channel. And it will be maybe a more deep conversation about how through struggles you can conquer your difficulties in life. My name is Fabio Boulle, and this is how I survived cancer. So in May 2021, I noticed a lump on my left side. And I went to a doctor here in Mauritius, and he was, what do you call it, general practitioner, so just a family doctor. But he has a background on oncology. And as soon as he saw that, he told me, Fabio, we need to take this out tomorrow. I said, okay, doctor. So I went, booked everything, and sent it to autopsy. On that weekend, it was my birthday weekend. I personally thought that's probably just something that is not really I should be worried about, and everything will be fine. Next week, I met him, and the results were back. And I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma disease, which essentially goes through your lymphatic system. And my life shattered in that sense. My son was about 1.5 months old at the time, and you're just shocked, thinking, you hear stories about people going through cancer, and you just think, it's not going to happen to me. And I embarked in this journey of getting healed. My parents, they decided to bring me to America, to one of the best places in the world to actually get treated. And so this May 26th, I left to America, leaving my wife here in Mauritius and my 2 children behind for a journey that I didn't know if I would be able to come back. I never thought I would die. It didn't pass by my mind that I thought I would pass away because of such terrible diseases. Truly because I thought everything would be okay. But you never know. And during this time, my dad was saying that he's my boxing trainer. That every time I had to go and fight and knock out the enemy, he would be there to inspire me and to guide me through. And this actually solidified a relationship that was very solid already. And I'm forever grateful for my parents, especially for my dad, that he went through me. I didn't go alone. This whole journey has made me understand that how life can be weak, but how strong we can be. And that no matter what, we have the power of decision over making all the changes and going through these battles that we have to overcome. I still remember being in my shower and basically crying, saying, God, why is this happening to me? I want to go home. What am I doing in America? I just want to be like next to my family. And yet I had to keep going, because I had to ensure that I'll be able to survive and get out of this. The worst thing that I wanted to do is come out of it still with lesions, maybe being handicapped because of radiation, and I had to fight. I became very spiritual in that sense, and I am a devout Catholic, and that has transformed my mind in the sense of how I see things in life, how even the mind works, how it plays tricks on you, but also how weak our minds are, especially my mind. I still remember the needles being pricked 6 times before they can actually induce the drugs, the medication, through the veins, because they couldn't find a vein. The first 3 sessions, I did 8 in total, were okay. After that, it was all downhill. Every time they would find a vein, they would have to test the vein, and I would literally have to throw up because of the taste. And that happened probably multiple times during those sessions, simply because I could not handle the salinity, the sodium, I think, in my mouth that would come up. And yet, I didn't complain. I pushed through. But it got very tough finding out after my 4th session that I was in remission, that it was working, that maybe I didn't do radiotherapy, which is very risky, especially in this part where you have the lungs and your heart. All these things have had a big effect in my mind and my emotions, because after suffering so much, now I have to work on myself to start wanting to have feelings in that sense. Wanting to want to feel, whether it's good or it's bad. Because for maybe one year, maybe even more, after my treatment, I didn't want to feel anything. I just want to feel numb. Because the pain was so big before. Like the struggle of just feeling something was not worth it. Today, I can say that although I think I've conquered this mountain, I'm still alive, probably fitter than I was before my cancer. There's still a very big journey of carrying my burdens forward, my imperfections as a person. And I aspire to be perhaps an example to my peers, to my family, to my friends, that no matter how hard it gets, you can still make it. You can still do things. You can still conquer. And I think it's through the turbulent times, through the real struggles, that you find who you really are. You find the person perhaps you're meant to be. And this is probably why in many movies like Rocky, you like the comeback. You like watching a person coming back to the top. And so I now feel that the pain I have to go through allows me to push further, allows me to be more careful on the things that I try to put in my mind and how I carry myself around me, especially my children. Children see what you do. They don't listen to what you say. And it's a fact. And if I can be, at least for my children, an example of not only toughness, perhaps righteousness, I am grateful. I know that I managed to go through cancer, survive. I know many worse stories and people didn't make it. I don't understand how in the world we live, some live and some die. But those who seem to be in a place where there's almost no hope, I certainly felt like I was being almost purified. My soul was being purified in the sense that nothing mattered. When I went through the experience and I first found out, I said, let it be. If it's faithful for me to go, let it be. I was, again, not afraid of dying. But now I am afraid of dying and not doing the things of what I should be done. And I think because in 2-3 generations with my family, no one will remember Fabio, because probably in 3 generations, no one have met Fabio. The hard truth is, probably a lot of people won't care. They'll be too busy in their own lives. My great-grandchildren, they're probably too busy in their lives. They will not remember Grandpa Fabio, that he went through cancer. He had to go through all these struggles. So all to say that it has been through my struggles that I now feel a bit more reborn, even though I still have to fight my own internal battles, understanding myself better, and be curious on becoming better. All this perhaps for me to understand that life is supposed to be tough. And yet we live in better conditions than maybe 50 years ago. And I think that's a great news. That through the struggles and the pain that our previous generations have to go through, and if we look at Second World War, even the First World War, even 500 years ago, those who died for us to be here are perhaps a leading example of what I must do. So no matter how big or how small my struggle is, you can go through it and live through it, because a lot of other people have gone through much more than what I've gone through. So if you're thinking that perhaps you have big problems, and maybe this is a cliche thing or cliche sentence, but I like to think of it as looking at the environment going around. On the day this video is recorded, there are 2 wars in the world. Maybe by the time it will be published, we will have 3 wars, or 4 or 5. We don't know. It is, for me, possible to go through things if we just believe that we can go through things as a starting point. And no matter what, even if there's tyranny, you have the choice of the decision of going through and carrying these burdens. And I know I've been focusing a lot of burdens, but it's just that going through this kind of situation, it was a very big burden that I had to carry, and I didn't even know how to start with. But through the help of God, it was possible. And I'm not saying that you couldn't do this without God, or you could do this without God. I did it with God, because I just embraced myself in a way that, okay, there's no hope, there is perhaps, but I give up my faith on me and will start believing in something higher than me. Less about me, more about others. Going through it, I remember I didn't mind the pain, but I didn't mind the pain that they'll have to go through. I'm a man. I have to be tough. I can show moments of weaknesses, but being a leader, an example for society means that we men must go to war against ourselves, against the situation, and fight. And that's my interpretation, how you can maybe live through your struggles and conquer the mountains that you need to conquer. So I've tried not to get too emotional doing this video, but I wanted to make this video because I feel that sometimes the world is a mean, ugly place. But sometimes we can make that mean, ugly place into something that is more friendly for ourselves. And that life isn't that bad after all. I hope you've learned something from this video. And if you want to leave a question, comment below, I'll be really happy to give you my insights on what I've learned through this experience, because I wish no one would go through this. Thank you for watching. My name is Fabio Boulle, and I'm here to support you in everywhere I can. Bye for now.